Hello everyone, and welcome to HCS 514. My name is Kevin Engel, and I will be your facilitator for this course over the next 6 weeks. Thank you for participating. This module is Paper Basics, and you're probably wondering, I've come so far in the master's program and I've been writing so many papers, why is there a module on Paper Basics? Well, one of the most important things in the healthcare industry is to be able to effectively communicate in writing. And one of the things that I have found since I've been in the University of Phoenix is that many students do not have a clear grasp on effective writing, and as evidenced by the papers that are submitted. So, having said that, I have created this module that clearly defines the expectations for this class. Now, you may have other expectations that have been defined for other courses by other instructors, but please understand that these are on the master's level. They are for this particular course. And I dare say that if you follow these specific instructions, you probably won't have any issues while you're at the graduate level. Things will change on the doctoral level, but on the graduate level they will not. So if you really truly do listen to this module, take it to heart, and actually follow the things in here, you should do pretty well for the rest of your career if you're not already doing well, which most of you probably are. So please use this as an opportunity to do well in this course and beyond. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you. There are 4 basic things that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the purpose for using APA style, the basic structure, the steps in drafting a paper, and we're going to go over an example. There are many purposes for using APA style. There are 4 that I want to really highlight. The first is professionalism. When you use APA style, there is a sense of professionalism, and as you are going into a professional field with physicians and nurses and very highly educated folks, you want to be able to draft in a professional way. There are many articles, many journals that you will be writing for, and they will require APA style, and so this is something that you will need to learn. The second is standardization. When everybody is writing using the same rules for writing, then it is much easier to communicate than if everybody has their own rules. It's also very efficient. You don't have to relearn the rules every class. You have the same rules for every class. And finally, it prepares you for your career. Using APA, like I said, you're going into an industry with a lot of professionals, and if you're not prepared for that, if you're not prepared for understanding APA and how it works, then you're not going to be prepared for the future. Now, each week you will have a rubric posted in the course materials forum, and each rubric has 3 general areas: message content, organization, and formatting and mechanics. So each paper will be graded based upon the structure of these 3 specific areas. Under the message content, there are a few things that are very critical to understand. Number 1 is that message content is 70% of the grade. So you want to make sure that you get message content right. Number 2, the major points of your paper are going to come from your message content. Number 3, The theory or theoretical component is going to come from your message content. And you're going to build your theory from your text, which is the textbook required reading, your articles that are on your electronic reserve reading, and other sources if you would like to mine for other sources. But there's also another piece, and that is the application piece. The purpose of the University of Phoenix, and this is what I love about the University of Phoenix, is that we take both theory and we apply that theory. And so you're not only going to have the theoretical component, but you're also going to have the application to that component. How were you able to apply what you learned? And most of you who are working in the field should be able to take the theory that you learn and apply it in the message content of your paper. The next section after content is organization. And organization has three different components: introduction, conclusion, and word count. Now, the most critical thing that I have to say under organization is that you must have a statement of major points in both the introduction and conclusion. In other words, in the introduction, you must preview your major points, and in the conclusion, you must review your major points. And we're going to talk a lot about that in the future. But the introduction is used to provide background information on the subject matter, but it's also to clearly define what you're going to talk about in your major points. And the conclusion is to wrap everything up and to review those major points. Now, as far as word count is concerned, I don't do a word count, but I also expect you to be a good steward of the resources that you have and not use filler words like very much or very good and to overdo your words. I expect you to clearly define your points and then move on. And that's really all I have to say about word count. Now, the final area under structure is formatting and mechanics. And there are a few things that I want to discuss here. The first is, unless you are a doctoral student or you plan to submit your paper for publication, you are not to have a running header on your paper. Now, 99% of students actually submit their paper with a running header. So this is probably different from everything that you've been taught in your coursework thus far. But please make sure that in this course you do not submit your paper with a running header. Next, the title page. There are 5 things that go on a title page, and they go in a specific order. And you do not put any labels on these things. The first is the title of the paper. The second is the author. That would be you. You don't put by and then your name. You just put your name, because it's automatically assumed, because of standardization, that the second listing on the title page is the author. It's one of the great things about APA and standardization. The third thing is the course, HCS 514. You do not need to put the name of the course, the title of the course. The fourth thing is the date, and that's the date that you submit the paper. And the fifth, or the final thing, is the instructor. All of these things need to be in that order. Do not leave anything off, do not add anything, and don't put anything in a different order. Many students like to put the University of Phoenix on the title page. Don't do it. The academic institution does not go on the title page. More information under formatting and mechanics. The font. The font needs to be 12 point. throughout. Headings are not a different font than everything else. Everything needs to be 12 point. Additionally, you need to choose between Arial, Times New Roman, or Courier New. And you need to have the same font throughout your entire paper. Headings. You need to use headings throughout your paper for sections. We will get into that in great detail further on in this presentation. You also need to have white space. White space includes a 1-inch margin all the way around your paper. It also includes double spacing throughout. Also, citations and reference page. You need to have correct citations in text. You also need to have a reference page. Everything that is on your reference page needs to be cited in your text if APA requires it. And that's very important to understand because sometimes APA will require it to be on your reference page but not in your text citation and vice versa. So you need to understand the rules, and you can find that under your citation and reference generator on the Center for Writing Excellence. The last area are your mechanics, and that deals with your grammar, your usage, your punctuation, and your spelling. I'm not going to go into any detail here. The Center for Writing Excellence has more information than you could ever want on this, on getting your grammar, your usage, your punctuation, and your spelling right. So if you have any problems there, you need to really spend some time in the specific area for the Center for Writing Excellence. Now, to recap, under basic structure, we talked about message content, organization, and formatting and mechanics. These are the three things that are going to be evaluated on every paper that's submitted by you during this course. There's one more small piece that I need to talk about, and that is saving your final file before you submit it for grading to the assignment section. And there's a specific way that I'd like you to do that, and I'd like to discuss that right now. In an attempt to standardize things, files, as I receive a different file from every student, one of the things that I'd like to do is have every student standardize how they save their file. And this is the standard that I currently use, and I would just like you to use it as well. When saving your file, one of the things that I'd like you to do is use the first initial of your first name and the last initial of your last name, and then use the underscore and then the first initial and last initial of the assignment. So, for instance, if we had a student named Parker Douglas, and this person is submitting an assignment called the Importance of Accountability assignment, the assignment would be saved as PD for Parker Douglas, underscore IA for Importance of Accountability. So that is kind of the expectation that I would have.